Happy Caturday, it's Abby, here for my first Caturday chat. Welcome to Abby's Nook, just a little bit. That was an inspiration for, well, let's see if I can straighten it, there. That is the inspiration for Owen claiming Anna in the hidden rose in front of the Queen and her entire court. And you can see, here is Anna, here is Owen, and this one inspired a scene on their way to Tutbury, where Owen fishes and Anna gets a little distracted because he is just wearing his breeches and he basically looks like that, so why not be distracted? I've had some people say, where do you get your stories? I wanted to do historical, I love history. Love history. One day, flipping around the channels, why is it you've got like 300 or 400 channels, and you're like, really? This is it? The Da Vinci Code came up. So I thought, okay, can't go too wrong with the Da Vinci Code. So, I watched. And as I'm watching the Da Vinci Code, an ad for the Assassin's Creed video game came on. I'm thinking, Next morning, woke up, there it was. Honestly, that's the way it was. But I'm thinking, okay, I like reading history, historical fiction, and it just drives me nuts when I'm like, I'm pretty sure that wasn't around until like 200 years later. There weren't that many books out and so forth. I mean, the books were extraordinarily expensive, and only the wealthy and some of the monasteries and such had books, which I know Anna has a lot of books. Some of them she managed to bring with her from Catalan, and others were gifts or whatever. Owen says, how did you manage to get so many just while you were here in London? And so that was, I really researched, and here are some of my books. And I've got at least a dozen on my Kindle, and there are more scattered about the place, because I wanted to get the details right. And then there was not just, what's the court protocol? You know, what dances were there? What did they wear? You know, there was formal wear for when you were in attendance on the Queen, which I try to mention. And what Owen wears when he's out at the training yard, what he wears for court wear. Quite a lot. And they did need help getting dressed and undressed and such. And I knew I had to get those details right, because the readers know. So I had to make sure I had it right. And then I'm thinking, okay, they're not just in London. And I thought, wait a minute. Can I find a map of London in the Elizabethan time? The internet is our friend. I found like 3 or 4 different maps for London, including sketches of the different buildings and stuff, which I absolutely loved. I found out how they made their buildings and created the buildings and their little courtyards and stuff, which I incorporated for when Owen takes Anna to the Tavern of the Seven Roses, even though he told her, no more pubs for you, dear. He didn't really mind the first visit to a pub, although he did have to kick a few men out of her bedroom. Read the book. Just a quick plug. But that was fascinating to see how they built the things. And I was able to use some of that for the story. And then when Anna saves the queen, gets her up on the guard's horse, and starts fighting, that's what would have done. Anna knew the priorities. You save the queen. You have to save the queen. And everyone did it. And no one's going to go after Anna because their first priority is to protect the queen. I had some people say, well, why didn't a couple guards go after Anna? Well, you can't send 2 guards when you've got like 6 men. You know, the first priority is always to protect the queen. And no one else questioned that. No one. I mean, that, you just... So, Owen's in the Tavern of the Seven Roses when he finds out about the attack on the queen and that Anna's been taken. And Adam Lambert's song, Running, kind of set the pace as I was writing that scene, as he is frantically running back to Whitehall. And all I can think about is his pride got in the way, and he didn't tell her how he felt, and now it could be too late. And his cousin, the queen, has been attacked. So he's just, all this going through his head as he's racing through the streets of London. The roses are gathering and chasing after him to join in. And then he makes it and finds out, okay, the queen's safe, and she wants him to find Anna, burn it to the ground. Of course, Queen's orders, Anna misunderstands that, and that creates more problems for the two of them. But because they'd gone through so much, so many misunderstandings, so many conspiracies, I wanted to spend that last part of the book, not just to set things up for the rest of the series, but to give Anna and Owen that much-deserved respite. That little, just a few days of peace and quiet and being a couple. They kind of deserved it. You know, they still go back and forth, and he's still like, what do you think you're doing? When she gets on the horse with Raoul and Etienne. And that was a bit something. And someone sent me a message saying, what happens in York? I mean, because they're all set to leave for York. I'm working on that book. That will be The Justice of the Root. And it is focused on Edward and Celeste, named for Anna's mother. Yes, I've noticed. All the men are half naked. You know, inspiration strikes in many amazing ways. So, that is a chat on the Hidden Rose and the inspiration, and how very careful I tried to be with getting all the historical details, from how fast could someone travel from London to Tutbury, or what was the weather like and such. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.